So, today, let's talk a little bit about church, and let's use a little bit of logic and some scriptures, and let's see how things add up here. So, most of the time, on Sunday, for church service, we dress up. We put on our Sunday clothes. Dresses and suits and slacks and ties and all of these things, And I think most people will agree that these clothes aren't very comfortable, And in places like where I live, these are more than uncomfortable. These types of clothes are miserable. Because here in the Philippines, most church buildings are not air conditioned. So it is absolutely miserable to dress up and go to church. And usually it is absolutely unacceptable to go to church in anything that is comfortable. So that's the first thing, our clothes. Secondly, the time. Usually, but not always, the time of church service is early on Sunday morning. Some of the older style churches may be 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning. More modern might be 9 or 10 in the morning. But both styles are pretty early in the morning. So that's the second thing. The third thing is the seating. Most churches, especially old style churches, but most churches have seating called pews. And I don't know if you know this or not, but I have known in the past, a man who makes church seating. And the main aspect of making what they call good church seating, is that it is uncomfortable. Okay, this guy said that the pastor or the elders would actually come in and test different style seating to see which ones were the least comfortable. So we've got the uncomfortable clothes. We've got the early time. We've got the uncomfortable seating. So, why do we do this? What's the reason? The clothes. Most people, if you ask about the clothes, why do you dress up on Sunday? They say, we're dressing for the Lord. Second, why so early? People work all week. They get up early, they go to work, they come home, and they repeat the process all week. Why do we have to do that on Sunday? Most people they will say it's for the Lord, and again, why the uncomfortable seating? People will say, well, you should be able to handle it. It's just for a short time, and it's for the Lord. So we have all of these different things that we say are for the Lord, but let's look at this. Let's use some scripture and let's use some logic here. So in Colossians 3:23, we have a scripture, and it says, whatever that you do, everything that you do it with all of your heart, as if you are working for the Lord and not for people. So everything that we do should be done for the Lord. But think about it. What is the first thing that we do when we get home from church? I can speak for myself. If I'm dressed up and I get home from church, the first thing I do is take those dress clothes off and put on something comfortable. What do we do when we get home from church after sitting on an uncomfortable chair, uncomfortable seat for an hour or 2 hours, however long your service is? What do? We sit in a comfortable seat. We rest our back. We rest our backside. What do we do when we get home from church? We take a nap because we had to get up so early. But if we did these things for the Lord, if we accept that we got up early for the Lord, if we accept that we put on dress clothes for the Lord, if we accept that we sat in an uncomfortable chair for the Lord, then if we apply this scripture of Colossians 3:23, that means every day we would have to get up early. That means every day we would have to dress up in uncomfortable clothing. That means every day we would have to sit on uncomfortable seating, because it says everything you do as for the Lord. And if those things are for the Lord, then we would have to do those things every day. Do you see how ridiculous this begins to sound when you apply logic and you apply scripture to tradition, to religion? It shows you how ridiculous the tradition is, how ridiculous the religion is. In Hosea 6:6, we have the statement, I desire mercy and not sacrifice. And let me tell you, dressing up in long pants and dress shoes and a dress shirt in the Philippines and sitting in a service that is in a building that is not air conditioned is a huge sacrifice. And he doesn't ask for sacrifice. He asks for mercy. He asks for compassion, not for sacrifice. So think of it like this. Everything that we do is about sacrifice. All of these things that we do for church, we get up early on the weekend after having to get up early all week. It's a sacrifice. We put on clothes that are uncomfortable and hot and miserable. That's a sacrifice. We sit in a chair, in a seat that is completely uncomfortable for who knows how long. That's a sacrifice. And here he's saying, I don't want sacrifice. I want mercy. I want compassion. So we need to be more focused on mercy and compassion than presenting ourselves as religious in our clothing and in showing up on time, early in the morning, and sitting and not complaining about the seating. We need to show mercy and compassion and walk away from tradition and religion, because tradition and religion will end you, but Christ, the Anointed One, gives life and gives mercy and gives compassion.